So, in case y'all are wondering, we're filming this for the Untitled Nerd Network channel.
Yeah, we're recording now.
Yeah, we're recording. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, we're good. We're
Okay.
good. It's how it rolls.
So, we are Untitled Nerd Network, and
I'm Lonnie.
I'm Mark. And thanks for coming to the panel. We're basically going to just chat about some X-Men from the 90s up till now. Favorite iterations. Basically, open it up. What you want to start?
Yeah, it's basically, and this really, I wasn't really excited about what they're doing with the X-Men until I found out they were bringing Jubilee back in like a major form. I was good because they had X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get them. Big
You
deal.
know they're canceling Generation X, right?
No.
Yeah. In March.
You gotta be kidding me.
No.
After all the and I find out here on the air.
Yeah. I could have swore I told you.
No.
All right. So if y'all guys want to introduce yourself, you can. Since we got a small room, we'll just do introductions.
My name's Jay.
Jay?
Charlie.
Charlie? All right. Welcome to the panel. So favorite iteration of the X-Men. Let's just start there. Like favorite team.
Favorite time period.
Favorite time period. Favorite iteration. Favorite team.
Not really sure. I grew up on the old animation series.
Oh, there you go.
And,
Then you're probably more of like an early 90s, like Jim Lee era type.
Right, and that's kind of sort of what we're talking about. We feel that they had a really good strong run in the 90s. They rebooted the books, they launched the cartoon, and then they came back, and we feel that they kind of got away from that, and now they're kind of sort of coming back full circle with kind of that same feel that they had back in the 90s, at least in the comics anyway.
Yeah, well, remember you had, like when Grant Morrison came on board with the new X-Men, I think it was like number 114 of the X-Men series, and they had that E is for Extinction, and they basically rewrote the X-Men totally. It took a lot darker turn. They made it more in line with like the movies. They gave them black leather jackets.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, like that's not the X-Men for, what was it, 40 years at that point was, their blue and yellow spandex, and it kind of got away from the more family-focused dramas and took more of a like cosmic, dark, oh crap, everything's gone all to hell turn. And especially when like Genosha was destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
And it wiped out like 3 million, 4 million mutants or something like that. And then they had M-Day, and that just further, decimated the ranks. And, like a lot of your favorite characters were just completely depowered. And to me, like M-Day, while it was really like a neat story. It was a cool concept. And I've read quite a bit of it, especially the aftermath and stuff. It wasn't, I felt like they really were trying too hard to just put the odds against the X-Men.
Angst. Too much angst.
Yeah. It's like I was just you're just constantly, holy crap, who's going to die next? Who's going to lose their powers? And then, God, I can't believe they're canceling Generation X.
I'm sorry.
You've completely destroyed the panel for me, Mark. Thanks.
So,
God
Charlie, what
almighty.
about you? What's your favorite iteration? And then we'll explain why he's so distraught in a second.
Kind of back in the 90s when it came on TV and kind of X-Men Evolution and such.
Ooh, X-Men Evolution. X-Men Evolution I thought was a really cool concept. And
It was.
And I love the fact that they included X-23 in it. But yeah, I liked Evolution. And so basically, the four of us here were all children of the 90s X-Men series. Yeah. And you can't get that song out of your head, that 90s theme song.
Thinking about it right now.
I know, right? But so the reason he is so distraught is he is probably the biggest Jubilee fan in the world.
Now, and get this, y'all. Like, I'm kind of like y'all were. I didn't know what the X-Men were until I saw that cartoon for the first time. I'd never read the comic books. We didn't have movies then. We didn't really do anything like that. And so,
Hi.
welcome to the X-Men panel. I'd never read comic books. I never picked up a comic. My very first comic book was back in '93, I was in the 3rd grade, and I had a buddy of mine. I had just moved to Charleston, South Carolina, and I was like a fish out of water. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, oh God, I'm in 3rd grade. I don't have any friends. And this friend of mine, a new guy that a new friend, came up to me and said, hey, I got these comic books. And I was like, comic books? He says, yeah. I said, I tell you what, I'll give you this copy of Venom Lethal Protector #1 with a gold foil cover. He said, I'll give you this for your fruit roll-up. I was like, well, food that I'm going to finish in a minute versus this book that I can read. Yeah, let's do this. So I got the comic book from him, flipped through it, read it about 700 more times, and then I was hooked. Well, then they were like, oh, if you like this, there's this cartoon that comes on. It's based on the X-Men. And so I started watching X-Men. And, of course, Jubilee was the character that they introduce you to the X-Men. So not only was I introduced to the cartoon through Jubilee, but I was introduced through the X-Men overall. And for some reason, I can't even tell you why, I became a big major Jubilee fan, to the point where I read Generation X religiously through the 90s. Every issue, I think I've actually got all but maybe 4 issues of that still. A lot of her storylines through Uncanny X-Men, like when Colossus's little sister died. That was a really powerful story.
That and that was one of the things that I was mad about Joss Whedon with, because that led into them finding the cure for the legacy virus, and Colossus sacrificing himself to cure it.
Yeah.
And then Joss Whedon brought him back. And I was really upset with that, because I think that took the entirety of Colossus' sacrifice off the table. And I'm a huge Colossus fan. And
well, it didn't necessarily, because his heart was in the right place. They managed to bring him back. And, nobody stays dead. Crap, Wolverine's back.
I know. But so our newest person, we're taking introductions. Your name?
If you don't care.
It's a small panel.
Yeah, Charles.
Charles? Okay, we got Charles and Charlie. That's going to be fun. And what's your favorite iteration of the X-Men? Like, favorite team, favorite incarnation?
So right now I'm actually going back and reading. My wife got me the omnibus of the Age of Apocalypse, and so I started going through.
Oh, man.
And so that's right now kind of where I'm at. I've been rewatching the cartoon and things like that.
So I'm assuming you're, like us, a 90s fan. And they went back and did a little more with Age of Apocalypse there for a little while. And I actually never...
They keep touching back on it every now and then.
Yeah, that's one of their easy cash cows, more or less. If you go back to the Age of Apocalypse, people get excited because it was like one of the best stories of the 90s. There actually wasn't a 90s story that I didn't like as far as crossovers. I liked Age of Apocalypse. I liked the Phalanx Covenant because that introduced Generation X. I liked Fatal Attractions. I even liked Operation Zero Tolerance.
Yeah.
I liked Onslaught. I liked... have I named all of them?
I think you have.
I did, didn't I?
That sounds like all of them.
But yeah, anything 90s. I absolutely loved. I've read all issues of Uncanny X-Men and X-Men from the time X-Men started, #1. And I believe
Jim Lee one?
Huh?
The Jim Lee one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it was Uncanny X-Men 281 was right
I think
about.
you're right. That's the one where Bishop came in.
All the way through about the time the whole Grant Morrison thing started. And then I kind of fell out because I wasn't a real big fan of the X-Corps and they brought a bunch
in
of...
the 2000s, they kind of went wonky with it.
Yeah, it was like everybody was dressed in black. They were set up in these fancy government buildings, and it was like everything that I didn't like about the 80s X Factor.
Yeah.
Because, they were like a government group.
The government
It was just
group.
like, well, whatever. But yeah, I absolutely loved the 90s X-Men, and most of what we're talking about here is how they've come full circle. All the stuff that we loved about the 90s, it's almost like somebody at Marvel is like, hey, nostalgia's a big thing right now. Let's go back to the Genesis where we were. And
so, which there leads to the question is, anybody reading anything current right now, X-Men wise? Like X-Men Blue, X-Men, so what are you reading?
Well, like gold and...
Blue and Gold?
Not really.
Have you picked up Red yet? So so basically they've got X-Men Gold, which is Kitty Pryde leading a team, which I'm probably the biggest Kitty Pryde nerd on the face of the planet. She's like my comic crush, kind of like I guess Jubilee's yours.
oh, definitely.
Okay,
I'm gonna marry her one day.
And then they've got X-Men Blue, which is the time-displaced original team running around. And now they have the Astonishing... Is it Astonishing? Yeah, the
Yes.
Astonishing X-Men, which is Psylocke,
Gambit,
and a couple other people. And
Rogue.
they brought Professor X back.
Mystique's part of the
Yeah,
team.
Mystique's part of the team. They brought Professor X back in... what's his name's body?
Somebody else's body?
Agent Zero or whatever his name is.
Phantom X?
Yeah, Phantom X. Yeah, he's Charles's mind
Holy
is in
God.
his body.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And suddenly my head's hurting.
And then they were for a while there running a Generation X series where Jubilee was teaching at the school and had this little group of misfits. And then they just introduced X-Men Red, which is, hi, come on in, have a seat. Yay, more people. If you feel free, go ahead and introduce yourself.
To the class.
You don't have to.
No, you don't have to,
We're
but
just
we're
trying
giving
to be
everybody a
friendly
chance
with
to kind of
everybody.
offer their input as to who they are and, what they like most, like time period wise of the X-Men. That kind of thing.
I know very little about the X-Men.
Oh, so
Okay.
you're here to learn.
Yes.
Cool.
All right, fair
Okay.
enough. Well, you're going to learn today. No, I'm sorry. For those of
Written
us that are
test
Kevin
after the
Hart
panel
fans,
for
yeah.
everybody.
Hi, come on in, have a seat. And then there's X-Men Red, which is Jean Grey has started a team.
Namor's part of it, isn't
Namor,
he?
yeah,
It's a
because I
really
think they're
weird...
basing it. I think they're creating a base somewhere underwater, and so she went to Namor to build a base,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. I thought, like, I've read the first issue. I haven't. Really,
Now, I've not read how she was resurrected.
I haven't either.
God, we're not
I
doing
need
our
to get into
homework,
that.
Mark.
Yeah, I need to get into that.
I was into Phoenix Resurrection part.
So you read that?
Yep.
All right, so tell us how they brought her back, because we missed that.
Yeah, I've not read it yet, but I want to know.
Like, the details are kind of, mostly they see what things are going on, like past people can be dead, but they're coming back, and it's like.
Okay,
Go to
so
the
it's-
grave, and it's, where is she?
Yeah.
She's gone.
It's just so they probably haven't even really explained how it happened. It
Probably
just-
not.
Well, I mean, she's embodied with the Phoenix Force.
I don't think she's attacked into the Phoenix Force anymore.
Is
either.
she not?
Nope.
Actually, yeah, it comes at the end of it, the two are not together anymore.
Yeah.
The Phoenix is
But-
trying to get her to come back to it, but Logan gets her to wake up, and she's like.
Oh, okay.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Maybe we can actually get a Logan and Jean Grey hookup now. Now that Scott's dead.
They got to bring him back.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
They do not
He's
need
one of my
bring
favorites.
Mr.
Don't even.
Stickler. No, I mean, look, no. If you want a really cool Summers to lead the X-Men, you need to bring Alex in and just say the hell with it.
Blasphemy.
They're gonna bring Scott no matter back in, no matter what.
I'm telling you.
So we've gotten everybody to tell us what their favorite iteration of the X-Men is. What's yours? And if you want to, introduce yourself too, so that you don't have to. It's just we're trying to make it an interactive panel.
I'm more, I'm in between, I'm a mixture, stuff. I don't have a favorite.
You don't have a favorite? Okay, fair enough. So, but are you like the rest of us, a child of the '90s, like the cartoon? Is that what? So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what got you into
Yeah.
it, right? Okay, that's kind of what we were saying is that and it feels like they're going back to that. But yeah, so that's what's going on now with the and then so apparently on an overall in March. Because Marvel came out with the legacy numbers, right? And they went back to the legacy numbering. So you got Spider-Man up in the 600s now, right? Well, apparently that confused a bunch of people. So Marvel in March is going to relaunch with dual numbering. So there's going to be an Avengers number 1/698.
They used to do that. Remember, Fantastic Four was like 423/55 or something.
So they're
like
going
that.
back to dual numbering, and they let out a list of all the titles that are going to get new number ones and everything.
Yeah.
And Generation X
That doesn't
is
mean
not
they're
on the
canceled.
list.
I'm holding out hope.
They
I'm holding out
released
hope.
they released all the books that are going to be released in March, and Generation X is not on the list.
Look, I'm
sorry
going to
to
go
tell you.
ahead and put out why that makes me mad is because, okay, everybody, like Jubilee might not be your favorite character. You might not even give two craps about her, but everybody pretty well knows who she is. My personal favorite character, I have a freaking wall of Jubilee stuff at home.
Yes, she does.
Almost on an
he
unhealthy
does.
level. Okay, so Jubilee started out as like the teenage kid in the malls back in '89, X-Men 244. She shot fireworks out of her hands, da-da-da-da-da, all that stuff. Ended up becoming like the sidekick of Wolverine through the 90s, moved to Generation X, became kind of like a main character on that team. And then during M-Day, lost her powers. She became part of the New Warriors, had a suit that gave her some other powers. And then there was like another volume of X-Men that came out. It was called Curse of the Mutants. And Dracula actually sent a vampire suicide bomber into like a town square. He exploded, blood got all over everybody, including Jubilee. She became a vampire as a result. And that was what we were dealing with up until about a month ago. They relaunched Generation X again, and with the Marvel Legacy number, and I think it was at like 87 right at this moment. She ended up, they were fighting, I can't remember who it was. I've not actually read the book, but I've read about it at length. They ended up taking away some kind of amulet that kept her from...
They were fighting Inflate again.
Yeah. And they took away her amulet that kept her from burning alive in the sun. And somebody threw her out into the sun. And she caught fire and started burning to death. Well, Quentin Quire, who is I don't know if you know who he is. He's the young kid that's part of Generation X. He's been around for about 10 years.
He's a psychic. He's got a really snotty attitude. He thinks he's better than everybody.
He has the Phoenix Force.
He had at one point in time a fragment of the Phoenix Force.
And so he had this, and he sacrificed his Phoenix Force to bring Jubilee back to life. Like to... Okay,
and give her powers back.
She's not burning anymore. Well, suddenly she looks at herself and is like, holy crap. Because she's breathing again, she has a heartbeat, she's human, and she has her firework powers back. That's the last that I've heard or read or anything. And speaking of the Marvel Legacy numbering that I just...
I really wish they'd leave it at that.
I had a pull box, Infinity Flux. Go see them in the exhibitor hall if you get a chance.
They're our sponsors, by the way.
Really awesome people. They're our sponsor. They actually, like Diamond, who is the comic distributor that gives comic, they're the ones that send comics to every comic book store. I was subscribed to Generation X, and then when they looped over into the Legacy numbering, the title became Generation X Legacy. And so Generation X was taken off of my pull list. And I didn't. And when I went to pick up all of my back issues, like $120 worth of books, I get home and I'm looking through them. Holy crap, I don't have the last 2 issues of Generation X. And they're like, oh, no, they changed the title and it didn't get put over onto your pull list. We're really sorry. We've reordered them. So I wasn't able to read them in time for the panel today.
Fair enough.
But yeah, drop by and see Infinity Flux. They do occasionally have to deal with issues from the distributor, but awesome people. But yeah, that was my bad luck, and now I hear it's canceled.
I'm sorry. I thought you knew.
Did you read a headline that says Generation X canceled?
I read a headline that said Marvel's released all the titles that are coming out in March, and Generation X is not on that list.
Okay. All right.
Like
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm going to be in a state of depression for about 2 weeks.
All right. So let's go my left to y'all's right. Is there something you would like to see in X-Men that you haven't seen yet?
As far as the new
Comics, TV series, the movies. Well, I would like to actually see a real X-Men movie, not Wolverine co-starring some people who kind of sort of look like the X-Men. Although I will say, I think they did really well with Apocalypse.
I actually liked it.
Out of all the new movies, I think Apocalypse was probably the best one.
And not to beat a dead horse, but they freaking cut out Jubilee's mall scene.
So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see something more with the whole, was it Friends of Humanity sort of subplot where they were always, I feel like the movies it's kind of touched on, but not.
So
that would be pretty cool. They kind of touched on that in X2.
Well, I'll tell you what. Forget X2. Oh, thank you.
Neatness.
This is our tech team, everybody. Give a round of applause to the tech team. Thank you. We're just going to test whether or not these work.
Okay.
Thank you. If we're not, we'll bring it back to you. Okay. But they have you been watching? Oh crap! What is it? It's
Legion?
On, no, not Legion. The other one.
Agents of Shield.
No, not Agents of Shield. It's
Runaways.
No, crud! I had it because I've watched the whole series. It's the Mutant Underground. It's got Polaris in it. Mutant. It's not Mutant X.
No. Oh my God! It comes on Fox.
Yeah, it's on Fox. But anyway, they've touched on that. They have touched on that show. I can't remember the name of the show.
I'll keep talking.
Huh?
I'll Google it.
No, it's not the Morlocks. It's But anyway, they've touched on that because like they've got as a matter of fact, because they've got he's talking about Jubilee being his favorite Gen X character. My favorite one was Bleak, and she was only in like 2 episodes, and they killed her.
But she was
She's
wildly
in this series.
popular.
She's in this series, and there's a flashback where she's coming out of a bowling alley or something. She's on a date with some guy, and these Friends of Humanity people show up, and they run her off.
Why am I not
Later
watching
on,
this?
Dude, it's actually pretty good.
The Gifted.
The Gifted.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Thank you, Google.
Later on, they're talking about this senator, and she's like, "That guy's Friends of Humanity." So there's a Friends of Humanity supporter who's a senator in the series.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's really good. The way that they've set it up is that the X-Men and the Brotherhood are gone. Nobody knows where they are, and
That's a good, easy way
Yeah.
to get past all
and
this.
so the X-Men picked Psylocke, this guy who has like sunlight powers, who basically he's Havoc without Havoc's name.
Okay.
And then Thunderbird, who
Okay.
I thought was a really good pick because they've done Thunderbird pretty right. Like my girlfriend Kinsey didn't want me to watch this because she was like, "You're not going to like it. They've changed too much stuff, so on and so forth." I actually liked it. And then they brought in the Stepford Cuckoos, and they did
Holy
them
crap,
amazingly
dude. I need to
well.
watch this.
And so what you've got is you've got the Mutant Underground, which is trying to save mutants from, the Sentinel services and the Friends of Humanity and just trying to keep them safe. And then you've got the Stepford Cuckoos who are rebuilding the Hellfire Club.
Okay.
And like they drop really subtle hints, like the Cuckoos are talking to Polaris and they're like, "You should be a member of the Hellfire Club. Your father was a king," because Magneto was the Grey King of the Hellfire Club in the comics. So that was a really good little Easter egg that I thought. But if y'all haven't watched The Gifted, watch it.
I'm definitely going to
Really
check
good stuff.
that out because I've.
But yeah, if you're looking for Friends of Humanity stuff, I mean, it's not prevalent throughout the whole series, but it is, and they do make reference to it in 3 or 4 episodes, and it's a really good way that they touch on it. What about you? What would you like to see?
I'm not sure. My personal favorite of the X-Men series, the X-Men team, was Gambit. I'm not quite sure why I like him so much.
Yeah. Where is that going? That has been in development
Channing
limbo.
Tatum is supposed to be doing
He's
the
still
movie.
doing it. It was supposed to come out last Valentine's Day, and it's been delayed. Are you excited about Channing Tatum being Gambit?
I'm not too concerned with who plays him as long as they do a good job.
Okay.
So here's the sad part. Did anybody ever see, back in the 80s, the movie Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme? Oh my God.
I think so. It's been a long
Okay,
time.
so there's this movie back from the 80s with Jean-Claude Van Damme, who basically he was this Cajun guy living in New Orleans. And at the time, when they introduced Gambit, I was like, that's who should play Gambit. If y'all ever, go back and watch that movie. He's got the Cajun accent real heavy, But, yeah, I don't know. He's got to be better than whoever they put in that Wolverine movie. Like, who was that they put in the Wolverine movie playing Gambit for 5 seconds?
I was impressed with him.
Really?
Am I the only one? Show of hands. Am I the only one that liked Wolverine Origins?
Yeah.
The second one was better.
I tried.
The second one was better. Wolverine, dude. As much as I think Deadpool
couldn't.
is, as much as I think Deadpool is
Deadpool part
overrated,
pissed me off a lot.
as much as I think Deadpool is overrated and overused, they raped him in that movie.
I did not care for the second Wolverine movie.
And they also butchered like Cyclops and Emma Frost in that movie.
The Blob.
And
They did the Blob
The
pretty good.
Sabretooth was okay in that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody else was just kind of like, okay, whatever.
I mean, here's something I want to cover while we have time. because I don't want to miss this golden opportunity. How, and this will probably kind of factor into like our 90s discussion, how will they bring the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe
Oh yeah.
now that it looks
Oh
like
god, yeah.
Disney has acquired Fox?
That's a good question. Thoughts? Anybody?
Anybody got anything on that?
Too.
Do you think it'll
you
happen?
think it'll happen in Deadpool 2?
I'm just being very optimistic.
Do you think?
It's gonna be connected to the darn thing is cable and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll have anything to do with Infinity War? And like, do you think maybe the Gauntlet will rewarp reality at some point, and or maybe create the mutant race inexplicably?
Well,
Or
they are talking about rebooting the Marvel Cinematic Universe after Infinity War because everybody's contracts are up.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you would have to,
like everybody's
because-
contracts are up.
think of how many
So-
people are going to die, and
Yeah. So, I think that would probably be the best place to do it. Is like, something happens with the Infinity Gauntlet, the world is rewritten, and oh, hey, wait, these guys have just been
I
here.
just thought it was something really funny in the Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
Deadpool shows up.
There was. I think my favorite one is there was this meme, and we're all over 18 here, so we could do this. There was this meme where it's like Deadpool gets put into the Marvel Universe, and they make it PG-13. So with PG-13, they get one F-bomb. And Deadpool comes on screen, and he's like, all right, I'm in this. And Wolverine goes, fuck off. Damn it, Logan.
that's. Well, there was also, and I know we're kind of getting away from the subject matter at hand, but I really want to talk about this. It was one of the
Come on in.
another one of the.
We are discussing the 90s X-Men and how they've gone from 90s X-Men until today. So if you're a 90s X-Men fan, come on down. Have a seat. All right.
But yeah, they there was like this.
Are you looking for Sean or for Sophia? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Really, Mark.
Sorry.
Nooga business during the panel. But yeah, there was that whole thing, and I promise this is the last non-X-Men thing I'm going to do, but they were wanting to see, everybody was, pulling on Thor's hammer trying to pick it up, and Captain America couldn't do it.
But he wiggled it.
Yeah, he did. And everybody else is like trying throughout the series to pick up this hammer, and nobody can. Well, like they have Stan Lee do a cameo during the post-credit scene where he's like a janitor, and he's like sweeping everything, and he walks
just
up,
picks it up,
picks up the
dusts under
hammer,
it,
dusts
sets it down.
under it, and sets it back down and walks off.
That is X-Men connected. Stan made them.
True.
So okay, we got. You want to see Friends of Humanity? What do you want to see?
I'm just looking forward to the game.
You're looking for Gambit.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we got to Gambit, and then we got off track. Okay. Charlie, what about you?
On the same way, one thing that surprised me was in X-Men Gold,
Uh-huh.
the current issue has it where Logan's leaving.
Well, they're going to phase out Old Man Logan because they're bringing back young Logan. Like, he's back from the dead. Please, no, God, no. Like the two most overused, overrated characters in Marvel are Deadpool and Logan. And I'm just so sick of seeing them in everything.
Dude, have you read Infinity, the new Infinity book?
No.
I read
the first one.
Basically, this Infinity, it's like it's got the one with everybody's hands circled around, and they've each holding an Infinity Stone. And there is actually the first 6-7 page scene in this book is Logan's walking around, and he's got one of the Infinity Stones. I think, what is it, the reality or
I don't know. He's got a stone and he's talking to it. He didn't say what it
whatever
was.
stone it is that allows him to teleport.
Oh, that's space.
Okay, so he has this stone, and suddenly
Because
he's
Logan
walking
just
around.
needs to be able to teleport.
He's walking around out in the woods, and all these Ultron robots show up, and they're like, "Hey, we're here to get the stone from you." And he's like, "No, not going to happen." So he kills a couple of them. Well, then they capture him in this plasma field, and they
Right.
pick him up. He's like, "God, I can't get out of here." He's like, "Well, too bad for y'all. I've got a new trick." And he just starts teleporting everywhere and just killing every one of them. And they're like, "All right." So Logan has the space stone, I guess, and can teleport. And Loki actually shows up and tries to get, hey, you don't need this. It's going to cause you problems. Give
Loki
it to me.
versus
And
Logan. That's a conversation I need to read.
Logan's like, I know I don't need this, but you're the last person on earth I would ever
give
give this to. And then he just kind of walks off. But yeah, I think I didn't even know that Infinity was a thing. I should have
I'm gonna
known
have to
they
look
were
into
going to
it.
do a comic leading into the movie. But holy crap, like I can't wait because it looks like X-Men are finally going to get their due in Marvel. Because if you look, Wolverine, Phoenix, a lot of your top-notch X-Men characters are being featured prominently in Marvel stuff. And it's almost like they are banking on this Fox deal to go through.
Oh, dude, I hope to God that they merge them together.
I hope, because
and we finally get a real X-Men movie.
The Fox X-Men has been kind of like the Grant Morrison type stuff, where they're all in black uniforms. Not so much recently, because they've kind of done some fan service by giving them the colorful uniforms and stuff.
Yeah, but
like
it's
that.
still that.
I'm
a little bit upset with every hero movie nowadays, just about being dark and gritty and without any kind of hope.
But I'm talking about the color palette.
Oh, I'm just talking about the storyline. I'm sorry.
But what I'm hoping is, here I go again, bear with me, Marvel gets the X-Men, Marvel Cinematic Universe, X-Men appear, and you've got all these bright, flashy, you'll probably finally get to see Wolverine in the yellow and blue spandex. We'll probably
Or at
get
least
to
the
see,
yellow and brown.
Yeah, we'll probably get to see Cyclops in his outfit. And what other character is in a bright yellow...
My God. Oh, I'm going to have to get you
I'm just
therapy.
saying, man, I can't help it.
What about you? What are you looking to see?
Oh, I don't really know any X-Men aside from like Leech.
Leech? Oh, wow. So, actually, no. That's
I
pretty
want to
cool.
hear this.
So,
how
which
out of-
version of Leech do you know?
I don't know the version. I just know that he exists.
Okay.
How do you? Okay, I got to ask this. This is unique.
Okay.
How do you know Leech exists? I want to know how you came to be familiar with the character.
I listened to this podcast called Plumbing the Death Star.
Okay.
They were talking about like Rogue and like how she can get over like being able to touch people, and they just said, "Oh yeah, just bring Leech into the room, and he could like use
Well,
his powers."
Okay.
Yeah, and so Leech is
Morlock.
was a Morlock. Okay, so there's been two versions of Leech. There's the comic book version and the movie version. We saw him in the movie. He was in what, 3? X-Men 3? Which
Yes.
X-Men was where they created
X3.
the cure? Okay, he was the cure. He was the kid that they were getting the cure from. That was Leech. Because whenever people walked in that room he was in, they lost their powers. That's his mutant ability. If you're within so many feet of him, no powers. But in the comic book, he's about yay tall, green, bumps on his head, and can only talk in thought-projected pictures.
No.
Wait, that's Artie.
That's Artie.
Oh, sorry. Artie is short and pink with bumps on his head and talks in thought.
Trust me, anytime you get something wrong, I'm here.
Yeah. But I like that that you're familiar with Leech, and he is one of those unique characters that no one ever mentions. So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. And it would be cool to see him either on the big screen or brought back in the comics. I haven't seen him much in the comics.
He was
lately.
the last time I really remember seeing him was back in the 90s. There was about a 20 or 30 issue run where he and Artie stayed with the Generation X crew
Yep,
for a while.
I remember that.
And
And then he was running around with a power pack for a while.
No, just Franklin Richards.
Oh yeah, Franklin. Yeah.
Because after Franklin's parents died as a result of the Onslaught thing,
Yeah.
Franklin went to stay with Generation X
Oh yeah, that's right.
for a little bit. And then Howard the Duck showed up for some stupid reason.
Howard the Duck is amazing. I want them to do a new Howard the Duck movie. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. Howard the Duck is amazing. So what about you, sir? What do you want to see for the X-Men?
I'm not totally sure.
So who's your
Like if they gave you
$1 million?
an $80 million budget and said, hey, do this movie, or hey, you're taking over X-Men Blue or X-Men Gold. Give us an X-Men idea. Just throw it out there. You got to have some kind of fan fiction floating around.
So for hang on, let me ask you a real quick question. How many people is your first time at Nooga? Okay, so we
Half the room.
really don't do non-interactive panels here, so be used to, like, if you go to any other panels, we're gonna have you talk to us too. So
And while I'm thinking about it, I do want to let everybody know that we're Untitled Nerd Network. We're at tables W43 and W44. We have a pretty big setup in the exhibitor hall, and we're giving away a Nintendo Switch to one of our first 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So if y'all have a
Charging costs
smartphone-
$1 every second.
So if y'all have a smartphone and want to subscribe to our channel, we'll enter you into that. And then by coming to this panel, you get a bonus entry. So every panel you come to this weekend will be a bonus entry into the Nintendo Switch. Most people only get one entry. Y'all have the opportunity to get like 6 this weekend. So just keep that in mind.
All right.
Figured
so
I would promote a little
that's cool,
bit.
yeah. What other questions do we have for everybody? What's some ideas y'all have? Somebody throw something at me. What you got?
I mean, I would like to see that Quicksilver.
Which version?
One
The Human Shield version or
The newest movie one. That's all I know about Quicksilver.
You're talking
Which
about the
movie
one
came out
who
last?
goes slow motion and runs around the room.
The merger between Disney and
I would
Fox.
like to see that too
I want to
because
see him come in.
I like the version that they did of him in the new X-Men movies. But do you ever watch the How It Would Have Ended stuff?
Yeah,
Did you see the one with him with like how X-Men Apocalypse should have ended?
I haven't.
So it gets to that scene where he's running around the mansion saving everybody, right? And so he's running in, he's running out, he's dropping people off, he's throwing people out the window, and then he stops, look at his watch, he runs off screen for a second, he comes back with the Quicksilver from the Avengers and goes, bet you didn't see that coming, and runs off screen. That was great.
That was really a problem that I had, as many other people had, and that's the fact that you had the Fox Quicksilver.
But they never called him Quicksilver. They just called him Pietro.
In the Fox movies?
In the X-Men movies, they never called him Quicksilver.
Wait, really?
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because they didn't have the ability. So they did. Hi, come on in. We're talking X-Men. All right, come on in and talk X-Men with us. Yeah, we're talking 90s X-Men and what we want to see going forward with X-Men. So come on in, have a seat.
Like what are like some ideas on
So you would like to see Quicksilver in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but you want to see that version of him. Yeah. I did like that version of him, especially with like all the little video games.
Here's the thing,
in his basement.
I don't care whether it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the Fox universe. They didn't do Quicksilver right on either one of them. Now, granted, I do like the Fox version because he kind of had that humor and
The Fox version
some really neat special effects.
Is Magneto's kid though?
Yeah, but the comic book version has his head so far up his own butt, and he's just, I'm better than everybody else.
I agree with
and
that.
there was none of that in either version in the movies.
Well, and in that defense, though,
but you hate
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver.
The comic book version of Quicksilver was a member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants first, and went through that whole mutants are superior to humans thing underneath Magneto.
True, so he had some daddy issues.
So, and then he's also got that whole mutant superiority issue. So,
and he still
that's
does.
something that the movie versions don't have.
Not to mention, even in the Fatal Attractions crossover, in the X Factor, you know, they all thought Magneto was dead for a while, and the acolytes actually were like praising Quicksilver as the son of Magneto.
God,
and
acolytes.
So that's got to give somebody like a complex.
So, okay, we got 2 new people here. Favorite version of the X-Men? Like, favorite version, like TV, movie, comic?
We're talking like,
version.
are you a fan of like the 90s X-Men, the cartoon?
The cartoon.
Okay, that's what we're hearing. Everybody.
Yeah. That's kind of sort of what got us really into it. Like, I mean, I'm older than that, and I'd read X-Men before that, but the X-Men cartoon really is what drew me into that. And then, of course, they relaunched the comic book at the same time. So that's what drew us in. So what we're doing now is we're just kind of going around the room asking everybody what they want to see going forward with the X-Men, and we're up to him, but y'all are next, so you're on deck. So your turn. Oh, wow. Dude, you got like some more in there? No. He's just pulling Cokes out of his pockets, man. That's kind of cool. What would you like to see?
It's a man after my own heart.
As far as going forward with,
Yeah, sure. We'll go with you, and then he's drinking.
as far as going forward with the X-Men,
Yeah.
I like to see drilling into the MCU, you know, what they're doing and what's going on with as far as the movie series.
Right.
I don't like with the MCU is the backtracking with the Ant and Boss movie and with Captain Marvel backstory.
Right, and we had actually just kind of sort of talked about what we like we're kind of hoping that's going to happen too. Is now that they've got that merger going, and we're thinking
It's not finalized yet. They apparently
but it's going
antitrust,
to happen. But we're thinking that Infinity War will be the perfect place for them to set up that, somehow with the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos rewrites everything, and then hey, here's the X-Men, and they've been here forever.
Or do you think that they might acknowledge that the X-Men were in another universe and maybe parallel universes collide?
That would be on track with Marvel, like a merging. That would,
It would be something similar
Something
to like
similar to
Battle
Secret World. Yeah,
that
Secret
we saw
Wars.
just recently in Secret Wars.
But yeah,
I'm getting excited.
we're on that. Yeah, we're on that same wagon too. We want to see what's going to happen with the X-Men going forward as far as like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because like I was saying earlier, I don't think especially with the first 3 movies, we didn't really get an X-Men movie. We got a Wolverine guest starring some people who kind of sort of look like the X-Men.
Yep.
And then, like the only X-Men movie that I've actually liked was Apocalypse. I thought that one was done really well.
I like X-Men too.
Well, I had a problem, as much as I love Havoc as a character, I had a problem with First Class having Havoc instead of Scott, and implying that Havoc was going to be Scott's dad or something like that.
No, Havoc was the older brother.
Yeah, but he's the younger brother.
He's supposed. Yeah, I know. Don't get me started.
So but all right, you're up. What do you want to see going forward? He wants to see Cheetos.
Blame him. Don't blame me for putting him on the
everything is
spot.
my fault. By the way, my name is Mark. There's a Facebook page called Everything is Mark's Fault. Feel free to sign up for it.
You see how we got to that point.
Yeah. I think I've put him on the spot. We'll back away from him. Anything else? Who else has got something? Questions, concerns, X-Men?
Did it just get darker in here?
I don't know. It might have. The sun may have went down outside.
Okay.
Or kind of behind a cloud.
This is completely off topic, but in the Vendors Hall, the lights kept going off.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're. I don't know what they're doing in there. Probably.
Well, I mean, we're literally like 5 minutes from the end of panel.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Fine.
But anyway, want to let everybody know, since we've got a captive audience, we do have our Nintendo Switch giveaway that I was talking about. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, and we're hitting it soon because we're at like 775 now, and at the beginning of the year we were at 600. And so once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're going to be giving away a Nintendo Switch. We're paying for that out of our own money. I've already got the money set aside, ready to buy somebody a Switch.
On YouTube?
Yeah. We're YouTube Untitled Nerd Network. We're actually set up at tables 43 and 44 in the
Go
exhibit
in the dealer's
hall.
room, take a right, go past the Universal Studio people. We're right there.
Yep. We got a big Deadpool hanging up there. You subscribe to us, get an entry, come to a panel, get an entry, and we've got, 4 more panels going on this week?
So basically, if you leave this room and go to the table and show us that you've subscribed, you'll get 2 entries.
Yeah.
Right now.
Because y'all are here. I'm going straight over to the table, so follow me.
Yeah, and then we've got an Orville panel coming up.
That's Sunday.
And
We're
then-
actually doing a Game of Thrones panel here in about 2 hours.
Yep. Game of
If y'all
Thrones
like Game of
panel a little bit
Thrones.
later.
It's not going to be me, and you're going to be.
I might be there.
Okay.
It depends. I've got to go get my son and then come back, so I might swing in there after I get done.
If you're an eligible bachelor, single Sarah's going to be doing that with me at 5.
One-
What's the name of y'all's YouTube channel?
Untitled Nerd Network.
Yeah, you'll see me and 2 ladies on the intro video. Mark's on there
Somewhere.
sometimes.
We do comic book stuff on there.
Yeah.
So there's a whole thing called Comic Book Malarkey, and that's what we do, and that's what turned into this panel is Comic Book Malarkey. But
767.
767. Oh, check you out. Is that counting you? Did you just subscribe?
My bad, somebody subscribed before me.
Oh, okay.
Y'all at 779 now.
Oh, booyah.
Oh,
Check that
holy
out.
crap! We had like 766 when we came in here.
But we want to thank y'all for coming, because, we love having people to talk to. These cons, it's all a bunch of group of nerds just talking to each other, and
That's really all Untitled Nerd Network is we sit around, have a good time, and video it. That's all it is. And I mean, we've been fortunate enough to do really well. We got a really good core group of people together. Couldn't ask for anything better. So,
sweet.
oh God, Mark.
I love you. So, any final thoughts from anyone? Like,
Anybody got one last thing to just close it out?
favorite
Good
X,
movie.
huh?
Black Panther and Wolverine. That would be
A black, like,
like
Like teaming up?
Yeah.
Did they do a comic about that?
I'm pretty sure Wolverine's been in everybody's book, for crying out loud. I'm pretty sure that they've had a team up at some point in time.
I've seen the cartoon with Blade and Wolverine all together. The anime.
I saw that one. That one was good.
It was a Blade cartoon series.
Yeah.
And Wolverine gets
Well,
killed on that.
that was really cool. We were talking about Curse of the Mutants earlier. Blade and Wolverine teamed up to like save Jubilee when she turned into a vampire.
That's cool.
That was a really
Yeah.
nice little block of
That would be
story.
cool, like a Wolverine Black Panther team up. Because, like, I know in the comic books, Captain America made it into Wakanda during the 40s. Like, he was there and running around. And then, so I'm pretty sure.
Black Panther cartoon. It was like only a 6 episode.
God, no, I missed that. I want.
They had it on Netflix at some point, right?
It was BT. It was done. I think it was done in the early 2000s. They did a Black Panther.
I remember that, and I remember wanting to see it, but I could never catch it.
They had what's his name? The guy that was in Tarzan movie, the Cheetah. He was Black Panther's voice. He was,
Oh, really?
I was actually going to write
I need
that
to check
down.
that. I'll have to look that up because I haven't. I will admit that I have not gotten the chance to see Black Panther yet because I am financially incapable of
I
it.
did.
But I have heard nothing but good things about it, and I want to see it because I personally, like everybody's talking about. Well, Blade. Blade was the first, African American superhero movie, and I get that, right? But this movie is the one with the predominant, there's
Yeah, because
two
I'm
white guys
sorry,
in the cast.
back in what it was, back in like 98 to 2003,
Yeah.
nobody cared.
Yeah.
Like, nobody cared about X-Men. They didn't have that same cultural, like, when Blade came out, it was just starting to seep in.
Yeah, it was like Blade and Batman.
Yeah.
Were like the first two.
But it seems like probably right about the time Age of Ultron maybe came out, maybe a little bit before that, it's like something happens in a Marvel movie. Even the people who have never read a comic, don't care about comics, everybody knows about it.
Yep.
And it's like somebody can't fart in a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie now, and everybody knows it.
Yep.
Like they're talking about it on like Entertainment Weekly, and it's like, holy crap, man.
They've got the
Howard
cat.
the Duck. Don't forget Howard the Duck.
Yes. See, he's
I was
so
still remember that. Like, that just
dude.
terrified me
So
when I was a kid.
the first. So now, don't get me wrong. The first movie had some issues, but if they could get a movie going with the current animation that they have in Guardians of the Galaxy and the guy that they've got voicing it in Guardians of the Galaxy, I am so on board because I love Seth Green as an actor. He's amazing.
Wait, Seth Green did the voice?
Yes.
So maybe it's the Affleck commercials, but I always thought Gilbert Godfrey.
No. Okay. So Howard the Duck is a Marvel character who is from a planet full of anthropomorphized ducks. He was accidentally teleported to Earth, and he started running around with this really attractive human female, and he's just like really flirty, and he's almost inappropriate for children to read, but he kind of sort of, because the comic book code, he had to be. But then in the 80s, they made a Howard the Duck movie with Leah Thompson, and it was, oh God, who was the guy? It was the John Voight, wasn't it?
Dude, I've never seen it.
Who was the bad guy in that? Was it John Voight?
Yeah.
No, wait, no, not John Voight. It was
We are now officially at the end of the Untitled Nerd Network's Comic Book Malarkey panel.
Crap. It wasn't John Voight because John Voight's a little bit older, but I can see the guy's face. I just can't. But it was really really campy, cheesy.
It was the principal of Ferris Bueller.
Yes. Cheesy.
Ben Stein?
No.
No, oh, you're talking about the dude who was on Beetlejuice. The redhead
Yes.
guy.
He's also on the Transylvanian.
He's one of those people that you've seen him in a million movies, but you don't know his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of people like that. Anyway. All right. Well, anyway, this concludes our panel. If y'all want to drop by and see us at tables W43 and 44, Big Untitled Nerd, where actually you look for the sign that has all the autographs on it. That's where we're at. and the Deadpool right next to each other. Got a couple of lovely ladies running the table right now in our absence, and we'll be doing a Game of Thrones panel at about 5 p.m. in room
Game of Thrones should be in 14, I think.
14. Okay, yeah, look for us in 14. So we're going to go ahead and cut our feed. Thanks,
Guys, thanks
everybody,
for coming, and we'll see you hopefully around the con.
Are we gonna be 2 acres at the table now?
Yeah, just come over.